Welcome to Freemasonry in the Bakken podcast, episode 6. This is the second part of our interview with the North Dakota Grand Master, David Bickel. I'm Nolan Overton, a Master Mason Shriner and Order of the Eastern Star member.
And this is Dr. Robert Bear. I'm a Master Mason and member of El Bickel Shrine.
And I'm Tyler Hall, a Master Mason, Shriner, Eastern Star member, and Senior DeMolay.
The views, opinions, and thoughts shared on the show are that of the individual host or guest, and not intended to represent the entire show, other co-hosts, Freemasonry, independent body, or grand jurisdiction as a whole. We try to have as much accurate and correct as possible, but reserve the right to be human and make mistakes. If you feel we have a wrong fact or have a difference of opinion, we encourage you to contact us via our contact page on the website for a mature, friendly discussion on the fact or topic.
Grandmaster, I have a question for you. In my state of Pennsylvania and some other states, there's a Masonic Youth Foundation. Does North Dakota have such a foundation?
Yes and no. We have a very strong and it's growing Masonic foundation. And that is the avenue that in the future we will look to support to a greater extent the youth organizations as well as other Masonic organizations. Youth organizations, I think, rank very high on our list, and we do offer support for them, and as they grow and succeed, there will be even more support. What I hope to see, I don't know if I will, but I hope to see our North Dakota Masonic Foundation develop the facility to take in funds and direct them from individuals who say, well, I want to be a part of the foundation. I want to direct resources into it for its purposes, but I want them primarily to be directed toward youth. And I think as we offer the opportunity to Masons and more importantly to the larger community to help with growing the foundation, but with the option of having that growth directed towards something that is of personal interest to them, I think we will probably move ahead a little faster than we have in the past. And so basically what I'm saying in a long-winded way, which I do quite often, is that
that's more than fun.
There will be in the future opportunities to have within the umbrella of the North Dakota Masonic Foundation a fairly significant support base for the Masonic youth organizations.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I think that'd be great. You know, because
well, it's needed, and you know, it's not only youth, but there are people that have interests in our historic sites. There are people who have interests in grave sites. There's people who have interests in our libraries and collections. So there's a lot of avenues, and of course there are people who have interest in the foundation's aid to other programs, community programs. So as you open up these avenues so people can contribute, direct resources to areas that they feel strongly about, the foundation will become stronger.
Well, I think Nolan, brother, and Tyler and I would all kind of agree that out of these youth organizations, you'll have future Master Masons, and it's a great place to start and through the youth so that they join the adult fraternities.
Yeah, and I think the important thing is to think in terms of not only youth, but think in terms of women and the roles that all of these individuals, if you wanted to sum it up, probably the truth is we need to think in terms really of the family. We need to think in terms of youth. We need to think in terms of the significant others in our lives and involve them all in Masonry. That sounds strange to some people at first because we all have our vows that really state that Masonry is a male organization. Well, it is in terms of our ritual, in terms of our formal meetings, in terms of our membership, but there's a lot that we do in terms of our community activities, in terms of our projects, in terms of our interaction with the outer world, where women and certainly our youth are important. And they're an integral part of that. And we need to think in those terms. And certainly the youth organizations fit into that.
You know, I think that was brought home with a visiting brother out of Colorado, in that his wife was Eastern Star, along with himself, and his older kids were Demolay, and to him, it was second nature for the Masonic bodies to be family activities, which is something that I've rarely seen in Western North Dakota, just because of dwindling membership. So I would completely agree, and there are examples of that out there, and it's definitely refreshing to see that, and it's definitely inspirational.
Yeah, and it was an interesting experience for me when one of the leaders in Eastern Star asked me to put together a map of Eastern Star chapters in the state of North Dakota. And by way of quick background, I use a lot of geographic information system software and skills in my profession. So putting together a map like that is second nature. But it's interesting to see the number of cities, the number of areas that have Eastern Star chapters that never really had a Masonic lodge in them.
Really?
Yeah. So not a lot, but enough to say, well, there is a degree of independence and kind of self-assertion there among Star. And it goes back into, well into our past. It's not a recent phenomenon.
Well, and that's great, dear. And that's something I personally am trying to foster in the Dickinson area, is greater cohesion, I guess might be the proper word, between Eastern Star and the Dickinson Lodge, along with any other appendant bodies, just because we have so much to offer each other that we don't need to be necessarily competing for resources. We should be sharing and working as a whole while each trying to foster our individual organizations.
Well, you touch upon a point that is really personally important to me, and that's the idea of bodies in the Masonic community competing instead of cooperating. We have come out of a 30-year down cycle, if you want to think of it that way, where
Wow.
We've gone through a generation of men who were not joiners. They tended to be loners. They tend to be family-oriented. They tend to be distrustful of authority. And now we're dealing with a generation of men who consider authority and authority figures something to respect. You may not always agree with them. The values that we as Freemasons value, they're seeing value in, and they are realizing that maybe some of us old guys, we've jumped through the flaming hoop and something can be learned from us. So there is a generation of men coming to us because we are Masons, and we really don't need to compete anymore.
So
we need to work together.
So in other words, you're saying you're not like the old buffaloes out here at Theodore Roosevelt Park that's all by themselves. You're saying bring you back to the rest of the herd because you all have something that's of value to share with others?
Yes, and you fellows in Dickinson may feel that you're at a disadvantage because you don't have a lodge hall, but what you don't have a mortgage, you don't have to repair the roof, you don't have to repave the parking lot.
Exactly.
A lodge is a band of brothers, and you expand that philosophy to include the star, to include Demolay, to include Rainbow, and you're getting to where we need to be. And I'm not excluding the shrine either. We're all Shriners, or most of us are.
Right.
So I have a question in that you brought up a point. At one time when I was younger and I belonged where I would go to work, there would be multiple men, usually older, who were Masons, and it was very easy to spot them because they were wearing the Masonic ring, or they had the bumper sticker on their car, or the Masonic emblem somewhere on them. But then through the years, like you were saying, there's been a period now you can go in places and people would say, well, what is a Mason, or what is Freemasonry? There seemed to be a period where Masons seem to vanish, and now we're starting to come back. So how would you describe Freemasonry to someone, or what a Mason is, if they came up to you and said, what is that? How would you describe that to that individual?
Very simply, and you guys will relate to this, I would use elevator speeches. 20-second sound bites.
Nice. Very nice.
Freemasonry is a fraternity. It's an ancient fraternity. Its guiding principles, or if you wish, tenets, are brotherly love, relief, and truth, period. And I'll wait for the next question.
I like that.
That is a very,
Don't him and haw have the 20-second sound bite. And they'll say, well, what do you mean by brotherly love? Well, that's where you develop a relationship with another man that's the same as you would have with a favored relative, the same degree of friendship and trust. Period.
Very nice.
Short and sweet.
You have to have these in your own words so they have meaning, and you have to communicate them. And really what you do with that is you get the information out, you suck them in to ask, more questions. Or if they say, oh, that's nice, and, say something, well, how about those Packers,
very, very nice. I like that. Okay, so Grandmaster, what would your ultimate legacy? What ultimate legacy do you want to leave as the Grandmaster of North Dakota? When people think back to you years from now, to your tenure or to your time as Grandmaster, what do you want people to remember?
Oh, that's a difficult question. You have two things there. How I would like them to remember me, or how would I like to see my effect on Masonry and the Grand Lodge of North Dakota play out. in terms of my ultimate legacy, in terms of the effect I have on Grand Lodge, I said when I first ran for office, it was kind of my platform, I said, I'm a single-issue candidate. I want to see more continuity in the work of the Grand Lodge of North Dakota. And if we move in that direction a little bit, I would like to maybe have somebody think back and say, hey, Dave Bickel kind of harped on this and got us going. In terms of myself, my personal remembrance or legacy, I really don't have one. I would like to see really the Masons and Masonry in North Dakota get back to its fundamentals and grow from that point. I'm enough of a realist. I'm not going to turn anything around. No one man does. But if we get things turning in the right direction, that's the best you can hope for.
So when you are finished as Grand Master, what are your plans afterwards with Freemasonry in North Dakota and Freemasonry in general?
I don't know yet. I really don't. I will be involved. It's too much of a part of my life. Probably like most Grand Masters, I'll, take a year off and decompress.
Go golfing.
At least promise us 1 month of vacation before you get back and going again.
Right.
But I joke with some others that I'd kind of like to be maybe the gadfly of Athens, maybe the PETA, pain in the neck, but you can figure out what the acronym really stands for. But I think there's a place for that. I don't have any direct plans. Maybe to be a good bagpiper and maybe make enough noise that people notice Masons as guys who are around, they're visible, and they have fun.
Speaking of the bagpipes, and this comes from somebody, myself being Scotch-Irish, so is the kilt now officially accepted at Grand Lodge, or was that just for your this past Grand Lodge when you took over?
Oh, it'll be for Grand Lodge in Bismarck next year.
Fantastic.
We've got Adam Fedler, as you know, and who you know.
Correct.
Is working away. I just have to keep prodding him. But he is looking to get a kilt pattern registered for the Grand Lodge of North Dakota. And my dream is to see that worked in some way as kind of a fundraising activity. We'd probably sell more ties than we ever will kilts, but still, it's something of identity for the Freemasons of North Dakota, and probably a fairly enjoyable way to raise some funds for the North Dakota Masonic Foundation.
So you're saying the three of us are going to be wearing kilts there for Grand Lodge there, Nolan?
Only if you want to.
Now, are these going to be made with a modesty strap, or are they going to go full traditional?
That's up to you.
I'm staying away from mirrors.
I'll bring my drum. How about that?
And it's nice to know that the Grand Lodge is in the summertime, because kilts in the winter may be a little bit of an issue. So,
well, I'm going to find out about that because I committed to be present at, of course, and probably play the pipes at the St. Patty's Day parade in Grand Forks this year. So
Find your wool
I have a
knickers.
feeling it's not going to be warm.
Get your wool knickers and you're ready to go. I think you'll...
I don't think you'll have any problem filling the bagpipe up.
No. Well, before we let you go, we're hitting about that time. Are there any other words of wisdom you can give us Masons in North Dakota or wherever else as our Grandmaster?
You kind of cued me in that you'd ask that question, and I think words of wisdom is kind of an oxymoron. Wisdom comes from experience. I don't think it's communicated. So my standard snide comment is ride hard, shoot straight, and always tell the truth. But no, if I were going to give advice or requests in your part of the state is be visible. We didn't choose the bagpipes for no reason, because you dress outlandish and you blow on an instrument that could be heard a quarter mile away, people are going to notice you. We need to be noticed. And implement the basics. And like I said before, that's best done with mentoring. You stop and think about it. We talk about all the charitable work we do. Well, that's a job of mentoring. We push and help one another into that. And that's what we do as a fraternity. And in terms of finding personal enlightenment, we don't tell one another what to believe. We just encourage one another to find out what is right for us. So it's pretty simple. It's probably not that difficult.
Well, it's always been a dream of mine to learn to play the bagpipes, and you're the first person I've met that knows how. So if you can instruct me in bagpipes, I guarantee I will make sure we're noticed at every parade in southwestern North Dakota.
Okay, is this Nolan now?
Yes, this is.
Okay. It's not easy, but what I'm trying to do with our group is to get people scattered across the state that have interests to start, and what we can do when we travel as traveling men, we can get together and do some of this sort of thing. Believe it or not, in the region, and it's up in, I believe, February, all of the pipers, usually associated with the Masonic community, most of them are Shriners, have a rendezvous in Fargo, and they spend a couple of days piping, working together. It's kind of a workshop and probably a little pub crawling along with it. But
can you have kilts and bagpipes without a pub crawl? I mean, aren't those three intertwined like brotherly love, relief, and truth? They come in threes.
Yes, you're correct.
We would like to thank this week's sponsor, Dakota Overton, an independent It Works distributor. Have you tried that crazy wrap thing that Titan Tones and Firms? For more information, give Dakota a call at 701-290-9544.
And if you know of any Masonic or appendant body activities coming up in the Bakken area, you can visit our website at www.bakkenmasons.com and click on the trestle board. If you have any comments or suggestions on an episode, you can contact us at our website, our Facebook page at facebook.com/BakkenMasons, Twitter at BakkenMasons.com, email us at contact@BakkenMasons.com, or leave us a voicemail at 701-484-1512. And if you are discussing a show, topic, or the podcast with friends online, We encourage the use of the hashtag Bakken Masons.
The time has come for us to say goodbye. So, for Brother Nolan, Brother Tyler, and myself, we'd like to thank you for listening, and we look forward to you joining us again. We would like to thank Grand Master David Bickel for being on our show today. Next week, we will be discussing the 4 cardinal virtues of Freemasonry. Until then, be Masonic proud. And now I leave you with these parting words. Remember, you're a Mason. When the pressure of recession makes us concentrate on greed, take heed, a worthy Mason cares about another's needs. Don't let pressure of the moment make your obligation sway. Stop and help a fallen brother or another by the way. What you give is like a bubble. Whenever you assist, what it cost in time and trouble is soon after never missed. Brother, bear that obligation. You accept it on your knee. It's in direct relation to your own security. Never hesitate, my brother. Square your actions now and say, I'll remember I'm a Mason, and behave like that today. With regards to human kindness and the golden rule, I pray I'll remember I'm a Mason and behave like that today. So mote it be.